The number of older residents in Western Massachusetts outpaces the majority of the rest of the state. And while state legislators are poised to study how to attract more young professionals, leaders at the Executive Office of Elder Affairs want residents to benefit from the wisdom that comes from experience. I spoke with its secretary, Alice Bonner, about steps being taken to make this region more age-friendly for everyone.
So age-friendly is really the way we think about growing up and growing old together. And it isn't just about older adults, it's about communities and families and neighborhoods.
And so for you, why is it important to have that broader definition? Because I think for a really long time, especially here in the United States, we thought about aging as something that's very specific to that age group. So what does that mean, broadening that definition in that way?
So a lot of the reason this is happening now is because the population is aging more rapidly. So we now have more people over the age of 60 than under the age of 20 in the Commonwealth. And so those are really big changes that are happening around the country. So all of us are growing older. I am, you are. And so this isn't about someone else. This isn't about others. It's really about us.
I know that in the Berkshires in particular, there's been a lot of work around age-friendly, and we've spoken with Laura Kittros at the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission about some of the work that they've done. And as I understand it, some of that work really comes around the point you just made, which is looking to elders for the strengths that they have and then connecting them with groups. Have you seen that happening elsewhere in the state, or the Berkshires really kind of out front here?
Well, the Berkshires were really a leader. They were what we call sometimes an early adopter, meaning they sort of took this idea and ran with it. But other places, central Massachusetts, the Cape you mentioned, North Shore, South Shore, really everywhere, there are at least some cities and towns that are learning how to leverage the power that they have and the energy with older adults. We recently went to down on the South Coast on some Meals on Wheels, some senior nutrition meal deliveries. And who were the van drivers? They were older adults. They were retirees who had come back to volunteer to be part of their community. So what we see with Age Friendly is you not only have this way of volunteers helping older adults, but volunteers are getting something out of this. They're not lonely and isolated and, by themselves in their homes. They are out, they're contributing, they're making a real difference every day in the lives of older people and sometimes younger people as well. We have a lot of intergenerational programs where older adults are going to high schools and middle schools and sharing their skills and experiences.
One of the realities of aging that's gotten some attention lately is that people in the elder population can be also rather vulnerable depending on their circumstances. And there have been some new numbers. For the first time, a national look at elder abuse statistics was published. And what that found was that there are 1.5 million cases of elder abuse reported nationally. But that figure can be a bit off, right? Because that's often an underreported statistic. So it could be as many as 20 to 30 million people. Is that right? Mm-hmm. How is it that we're defining this population of folks that could be at risk for being abused?
So Massachusetts is part of some national work that's sponsored by the John A. Hartford Foundation and the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation to work with other experts in states like New York, California, and Texas on elder abuse. And the research that's been done has largely been done out of those groups. In California, they have the Center for Elder Abuse, the National Center, and New York has the New York Center for Elder Abuse. So those numbers come from studies where people have determined that for every case of elder abuse that's actually reported, there's probably another 40 plus cases that go undetected. And there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not something people are often familiar with. People don't always know how to report, and so that's what we've really done in Massachusetts is we have increased resources, increased funding in this administration for our protective services agencies, and we've centralized the reporting for elder abuse to make it easier for anyone, but particularly public safety folks like police officers and emergency room doctors and nurses to make a report 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we have a hotline. It's always there. You'll always get an operator, and you can make a report of suspected abuse. One of the things people don't always know is you don't have to know for sure that abuse happened. Very few of us know that for a fact.
Something that's raising a concern, you might say something. It's better safe than sorry. I read that also that in Massachusetts it's about 9,800 cases that were confirmed, which is up about 40%, and some of that's due to reporting changes. But a lot of that, I think I read that you said sometimes that can be coming from within a family, a member who might be taking advantage of an elder because of financial reasons. How do we know that?
So again, when we look at our statistics, we break it down by the number of cases of physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, self-neglect, and financial exploitation. And across the country, financial exploitation is actually the fastest growing type of elder abuse. We also know from, again, the work that we do, the research that we do, that in over 50% of cases, the perpetrator is actually a family member. So people have hypothesized about the opioid crisis and, are family members more in need of looking for money or taking money from an elder. We don't really know if that's the case, but for whatever the reason, we do see financial exploitation, things like scams and, phone calls saying your grandson's in jail, those kinds of things are not necessarily from a family member, but they are also on the rise. So our work in elder affairs, the work by the DA's offices, by the sheriff's departments, has all really come together, and we have a lot of work in our age-friendly communities around protecting older adults who might be vulnerable.
Another thing that's been coming up for people who I've been speaking with in the elder community is the fact that they're going to their doctors, and more doctors these days are switching to digital medical records. And there's this concept of your own special medical portal where you can log in and find information about your health care, which for me is wonderful. I love that concept as a consumer. But I've had older people say to me, one, I don't use a computer, or two, it's hard for me to navigate such a thing, and they feel like they're almost being discriminated against because they don't feel like that's a strong option for them. How should we be helping bridge that gap for people?
So I would say two things. I would say as an adult, an older adult, or anyone who's engaged in the healthcare system, be an advocate for yourself and tell your doctor or your nurse practitioner how you like to receive information. And if digital is not the thing that works for you, let them know that, particularly your primary care, because you really need to have a good relationship with that person. But you brought up something important, which is older people, especially baby boomers, some of them are very facile with technology like computers and laptops and tablets, and others, don't want to go there.
I would like my papers. Thank you very much.
That's right. So I think at the councils on aging, again, I've gone all around the state, many councils on aging or senior centers work with high school or middle school students or other volunteers to work with older adults who are less comfortable with that technology. But I could imagine going to a senior center, sitting down with somebody else who could help you work through that program, if you will. Now, of course, sometimes there's sensitive health information, so you may or may not want to do it that way. But there are ways to connect people in communities with folks who can help with technology. And we want to always be open-minded because, as I said, some people, I'm 61. I'm hoping I'll continue to use technology as I get older. But it's really very individual, and we want to be a good advocate for the way people themselves want to learn information and keep up with their medical records. It's very important.
Secretary Bonner, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much.